to Closet Conversations. Today I want to talk to you about pricing within your consignment shop and whether or not you should negotiate on your price. I think negotiation is something that happens every day to everybody, whether it's getting a cup of coffee at Starbucks or walking across the street. We're always negotiating for ourselves. And one of the things I was very, very surprised by is how much people believe there is room to negotiate on pricing within a consignment shop. Probably because I had never thought there was room to negotiate within a consignment shop. I had never asked anyone about pricing. I had never even occurred to me that someone might reduce the price. And so I think that's why it was super shocking from the very early days at Walker Viden that people would start asking about the pricing and if things were negotiable, if we would take offers, things like that. And I just realized that I hadn't done a podcast on this, and it's very timely. Very recently, someone was asking to negotiate once again with us. And I think that in one hand, I think that the reason people feel like they can ask to negotiate on prices because in this environment you have something that is quote unquote used. Even if it's new with tags, it's pre-owned, even if it's not pre-worn. I think that culturally, certain cultures are very used to negotiating pricing. I think people feel like because maybe you're a small business that they can negotiate. I think that it's something that you need to prepare yourself for if you're going to open up a consignment shop. You need to prepare yourself for negotiation. Certainly as resellers that have listings up on eBay or Poshmark, people can send offers. So it's very much like an offer. But in a consignment environment, you have contracts with consigners. They have a certain expectation. In our store, we say that we're going to have the items full price for the first 30 days at least. Even though we can at any time reduce the price, we don't like to. We don't want to. We want to hold out. We want to get that maximum price for the item because that makes everyone very happy, makes the consignor happy, certainly makes us happy. So I think you have to be mindful of when and if you should negotiate on pricing. And while there's no hard and fast rule, I think that one of the things I've noticed is if you come down on the price once, that person will always expect you to come down on the price. So it's a little bit about like dating. If you're going to kiss on the first date, you're always going to expect that, right? So it's it's something that comes up, and I'm always shocked by it because there's really not a good response to it, because when you're a small business, what you really want is to sell the item at the price it's marked. You really do want to sell it for as much as possible because you've got bills to pay, you've got overhead, and you've got a consignor to keep happy. So I think when the question keeps coming up over and over and over again, I'm noticing that there's different framework behind it. Sometimes it's because it's flawed. Sometimes it's because it's the culture and they feel like they can negotiate. I've had people who were very, very hard at negotiation, so hard that they actually sat in front of me and said, "I'll give you X for this item." And I'm like, what? One time it was so hard negotiating, and I'm a softie, man. I'm a pushover. I'm from the South, and I had a certain kind of way I was raised by my mother, and it certainly wasn't to be hard at all. Although living in New York for 16 years certainly puts an edge on a person, but that it really was, it's shocking. And so when someone pushes and pushes and pushes for a discount, it literally leaves me shocked and a little bit bleeding from the ears, so to speak. And it's because it's very hard for me just to be very firm and be like, no, we don't negotiate, period. Because to say something like that, and then someone continues to ask for a discount or continues to negotiate or continues to push the issue, that's when it gets challenging for me. That's when I have a really difficult time in knowing how to handle it. One of the worst things is when someone starts to negotiate in front of other customers that are in the store. And if you were to give a discount, everyone else who potentially can pay full price is going to hear you. They're going to see you. They're going to watch what you do. And I had someone who negotiated so hard with me that I just, I'm like, kept saying no, 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 no. And finally they're like, I'll give you X. And the words that slipped out of my mouth were, I'm not a fruit stand. You don't get to tell me what you're going to pay for something. That is a direct quote of something I said in my store. And it really puts you on the defensive, and I shouldn't be put on the defensive. I mean, if you go on to the Real, you don't get to negotiate the prices. They make that very clear in the small print. This is the price. If you like it, you need to watch it and wait for it to get marked down. And so in small business, you've got to decide if you're going to take the hard rule, take a hard line or a soft line, or just kind of, come up with some sort of criteria that you're going to stand by. I mean, it's easy to take 10% off of something. No one's going to complain about that. But for some people, even that's not enough. I mean, they really want deep, deep discounts. Some people, they'll watch things, they'll come back in and they're waiting for it to go down or waiting for it to go down. When's this going to be 70 off? And I'm like, it's never going to be 70 off. It's only going to go down to 50. Our little 70 to 80% off sale is long gone. It was just a trial to get rid of some old merch. And that's not going to happen. So a lot of people are very price conscious. There's nothing wrong with being price conscious at all. But you've got to make a decision. You've got to decide, are you going to give a discount or not? Under what circumstance would you give a discount? And one of the things I get asked all in all, nobody really talks about this. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm not going to call it offensive, but one of the most shocking things that people say all the time is, well, what if I give you cash? Can I get a discount then? And the answer is no. You don't get a cash discount. You still got to pay tax. I mean, a lot of people don't want to pay tax and they're always trying to finagle a way around it, but somebody's got to pay the tax. Somebody has to. Every sale has to be tracked. I mean, this stuff comes up over and over again. What if I pay you cash? Do I have to pay tax? Yes, you do. What if I do this? Do I have to pay tax? Yes, you do. What about this kind of discount? And people really, some people have no problem putting it out there that they don't want to pay that price. They don't want to pay it, and they don't want to pay tax on top of it. And in Pasadena, it's 10.25, that's a big chunk of change. So if you give a 10% discount to someone, they still have that 10% plus another 0.25 is going to get added back on. And so they've gotten kind of nowhere, so to speak, in terms of the overall price. But we have come up with a pretty hard and fast rule in our store, and we can give a 10% discount if something is flawed, if there's something going on. Right now, at this moment, we have a Yelp coupon. If you want to check in on Yelp, I don't know how long that'll be up there, but you can get 10% off one item, and sometimes that coupon will be 10% off your whole purchase for a limited time with some exclusions like Chanel and Louis Vuitton. We do want to move it. We absolutely want to move it, and I've always felt like the more I get into this business, that if anybody shows an interest in anything, you got to try to sell it to them, right? But, if you discount it too heavily, you're going to feel the effects of that. You're going to pay the price at some point. If not, then you're going to pay that price later, because the consignor's not going to be happy. And that person who got a deep discount, I can guarantee you, will continue to expect that level of discounting from you. And that is something I've noticed where even in my own store, if someone wanted a discount and then they're like looking over the garment, just trying to find something wrong with it, just anything, a loose button, anything in the world so they can get a discount, And if you give them one, then the next time they come in there, they'll be like, well, I want a discount. So it's just the first thing out of their mouth. So I think there's some sort of concept with price discounting. I mean, Gucci doesn't put their clothes on sale anymore. Louis Vuitton doesn't put their things on sale. And they do that to maintain integrity in their pricing and in their item and within their brand. And I think as a store, you've got to decide, am I the person who's going to get a reputation for discounting? Am I going to get a reputation with particular consignors for always giving a discount? Or are we going to be the store who always holds firm and doesn't do that? And these are just questions that I pose, and everyone has to decide what their policy is going to be. But human nature is human nature. And just like in the real estate business, when people are trying to buy a house, the buyer's picking it apart. This is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, because they want to get a better deal on it. And then the seller's like, yeah, well, it won't cost you much to fix that, or I'll fix it for you, whatever. Like, it's a negotiation. And I think a lot of times people see luxury consignment as mini real estate deal or something. But you do have to prepare yourself for it. You do have to be mindful this is going to happen. You are going to be tested. You're going to be tested by customers. You're going to be tested by people that are posing as customers who may not be customers. They might be, someone who is trying to find out if you do legitimate business or not. It could be, you don't know who these people are. You don't know where they're coming from. You don't know why they're in their store. All you know is they're asking you these questions. And you have to be prepared that person could be anyone. It could be an undercover policeman, could be someone from the tax board, could be someone from a competing consignment shop, could be someone who's just curious. You don't know. You have no idea who these people are. So you have to make a decision within your store, come up with your policies, stick firm, and be prepared for this to come up nonstop on an ongoing basis, as long as you're dealing with the public and you're dealing with people one-on-one in your store. It's much easier to deal with a negotiation on email, online. I can negotiate all day long when I'm not looking at someone in the face, but when someone's sitting in front of you, it's intense. It's very personal, and every nuance, every bit of body language, everything is going to show. So you got to be really good poker face. And when we came up with our recent policy about just being super firm, and then it's almost like the big fake out. I'm just going to sit there, and they're going to keep trying to ask for a discount, and I'm just going to sit there and keep being firm. And if we lose the sale, we lose the sale, but what we gain is our integrity. And so that's kind of where we are right now, is holding on to our integrity as long as we can, and holding out for the buyer who's willing to pay the item at what it's priced. And because we're online, you have people all over the world who are looking at this item, not just this one person in your store. Things do get marked down over time, absolutely, in consignment shop, and I'm always happy to give people a discount if it's time. Has it been 30 days? Has it been 60 days? How long has it been there? What does the contract say? When did it come in? And so at that point, it's much easier to give a discount, because you absolutely can give a discount if it's been there a certain amount of time, based on what your contract says or how you feel about the item. Some things like luxury handbags don't need to be discounted at all. They're going to sell at full price. So these are all things to think about, to come up with a policy for, and to prepare yourself for. Sometimes people say, well, can I make an offer? And we do get that from time to time. We have offer buttons, not all the time, but sometimes on a lot of our inventory on eBay, so they feel like everything is an offer. Or they'll say, will you call the consignor? Will you call the owner? And my experience with calling consignors in those early days was this. 1, why are you calling me? And 2, use your best judgment. And I think that pretty much says it all, because if you can't make that decision in the moment, it probably isn't a good offer. If you feel like you have to call the owner, and I'm not opposed to it, and so these days I try to figure out these things on the front end, whether or not someone wants to be called or not, whether or not there's some sort of minimum on a handbag they're trying to achieve, but with you kind of know where you could potentially take an offer or not. only if you're willing to give it. And I've told people I'm not willing to call the consignor. I'm absolutely not willing to call the consignor with this low offer that you're providing me. I will not do it. And that's a decision you have to make, because just because someone wants to make an offer doesn't mean you have to entertain it. So that's something to keep in mind. Well, that's it. Just a little things to think about. Offers, pricing, standing firm, bending a little bit, having a reason to bend, setting your reputation as a business, doing things that are, certainly the way they should be done. Even when people are paying cash, making sure you're charging tax, making sure you're tracking everything. These are all things to think about and consider if you're going to be opening up a consignment shop, because they will come up and you will have to have a policy on how to deal with them. And that's it. This is Jennie Walker with Closet Conversations, with another episode on my opening up a consignment shop series, which if you like this one, you can go earlier into the number of episodes that I have and find around 8 or 9 episodes related to opening up a consignment shop, and this is just the latest one, and I hope you enjoy it. If you like what you heard today, feel free to give it a 5-star review, leave some comments, thumbs up, subscribe, all those kinds of things. Helps to raise the profile of this podcast, and reselling and consignment is something that is a niche topic, so anything we can do collectively to put it up in the feed will be great. Thanks again. I look forward to having you with me on a future episode. This podcast features the song Black Hat, written by Jennie Walker and Tommy Farragher, available on iTunes worldwide now.